This is Alexis Daggett with Mac Midwest, and I'm so excited to be sitting down with Miranda Krentz, who is one of our behavioral analyst trainees at our Red Wing Center. And why I'm so excited to be sitting down with Miranda today is not only is she a wonderful employee at Mac, but she also is a parent who is navigating all of the challenges and tribulations and wonders and days of extraordinary progress that all comes along with having a child who's been diagnosed with autism. So, Miranda, thank you so much for joining us today.
I am happy to be here.
Miranda, why don't we just start by you telling us a little bit about yourself and your kiddo and, how this journey started for you? Like, when did you start noticing signs?
We were a military family. My husband served. And so during the process of moving and transitioning, my son, who is 13 now, he developed late, right? He didn't meet the milestones, late talking, just emotional, big feelings. And so I noticed it when he was two and a half. He didn't walk or crawl till he was 3. His first word, he was 5 and a half. And being a military family, there wasn't a lot of, I would say, like resources, just because with insurance and then having to go to the military hospital, there wasn't not a lot of resources to provide care and treatment to him. And so to get the testing done, I drove 2.5 hours.
Wow, yeah.
Just to have someone, see him and do all the testing. I did a lot of research.
What made you, finally decide to get tested? So he was, you said 3 when you started to get him tested. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so you had seen enough signs at that point, but that's a big decision to make. Like, I see something wrong and I think it might be this. I'm going to drive 2.5 hours to go get tested.
At first it was hard. My husband was deployed. And so it was hard to make that decision. And I know that from a parent standpoint, you always are in the back of your mind saying, what did I do? What could I have done different? Was it me?
Right.
And I always thought that, what did I do something during pregnancy? I mean, all these thoughts go.
Yeah, right. That's totally natural. We hear that for so many parents. Like, is this my fault? Could I have done something different?
And so then I went, I was like, come to kind of terms, and I was like, it might be nothing, right? And, going to get him tested or doing all this, it doesn't make me a lesser parent.
Right.
If anything, it just makes you a stronger parent. For taking those steps. And so we got tested, and, the results came back as, he has autism with OCD. So, having that dual, it was hard. And, I was like, picked up my phone. I was like, I'm going to call my husband. I'm like, oh, wait, I can't, because I don't know where he's at right now.
Yeah. So to receive that, diagnosis by yourself and navigating that. And I think for individuals who haven't gone through this or know a lot about autism, they don't understand or have a good grasp on the prevalence of co-occurring conditions. So not only have you now just gotten a diagnosis of autism, but you're also like, on top of OCD, I mean, what do I do with this, right? That has to be a very overwhelming feeling.
It was. The OCD was hard.
Right.
I felt like it was a whole different ballgame than ASD. Because with ASD, and there's so many resources out there and therapy like ABA. So I found out he was, and then I actually did all the research, got all the books of ABA and OT and speech, and I decided, I'm home. I want to make sure that, I could drive, but I was like, why not just do it?
Yeah.
And use all the,
And so when you're saying just do it, as his parent, you're like, I'm going to be there for him. I'm going to learn about this and I'm going to help him to the best of my ability.
And so I researched and I did all of the books. I watched a lot of videos. I took a couple of classes, and then I started the process with them. And as we kind of transitioned around and moved, and I started kind of picking up that there was ABA services, like ABA centers. And it was...
Yeah. So when you were doing your research, was that something that stood out for you too? Did you know when you have this diagnosis, I'm assuming your next question is well, now what? And amazing to you, a point to you is that you were like, well, I'll take care of this, which is huge. And I can't imagine, magnitude of that decision. But were you not finding, or did you find it difficult to find resources that said you can get your child into a center, or there's outpatient services they can receive? And also for you, it sounds like you're moving around a lot. And so that change of continuing trying to find different services had to be challenging as well.
It was. I had with the bigger cities, I noticed, like San Diego, when we were stationed, it was really hard to find a therapy place or a center. And so it's the bigger places are hard, right? And then, you have a lot of the bigger places that if they had a center, they were filled.
Right.
So then where do you go?
And I think there are so many parents who are stuck in that limbo of, okay, I'm going to try this place only to get put onto a wait list because the demand is so high. And like you said, the resources, depending on where you are, can be so scarce.
Yes. And if you live out in the country, it is really hard
right.
To find services. So I did research, and he started services once he was able to get into a Head Start. We moved back to Wisconsin, actually, when my husband got out, and we moved back. But I found even then it was hard to get him services because no IEP, and there's so much red tape, I would say, to get your kid services and help. So I did, up until he started at Head Start, I did ABA and I did OT and I did speech with him. And so as a parent looking at, it's hard, right? It's never easy to accept that your kid is going to have this for the rest of his life. He's going to have challenges in his life, and that he might not be able to have friends or go to birthday parties or have friends over. Because as a parent, you want that for your child. And that took me a long time. Just knowing okay, he's not going to get invited to a birthday party. Oh, no friends are going to come to his birthday party.
So now, let's fast forward, because you said your son is 13 now, right? And so you've had, a long part of this journey together. And as you look at that, have you noticed the progress that has been made? And was there a point where you're like, this is working, we're taking steps forward, and maybe this idea that this is going to be hard and challenging, you could starting to see some of that silver lining, some of the more beautiful moments?
I feel blessed to be chosen to be his mom.
Yes.
And I feel like he has grown, and that ABA has made that impact and that difference, and that doing this job at MAC and learning so much more has helped me help him more, and help him be successful. And I always say, he doesn't, these kids don't need a label, right? They have a
Right.
name like every other kid, we can use it. And so now he's 13. He is thriving. He is officially off an IEP, and now
Wow,
he's
that had to be a day when that happened, right?
and now he's on a 504. And being a mom and watching him grow he's unique, right?
Right.
And there's just no other kid like him. And that is something that as a parent, you're like, I have that like one of a kind kid and he's mine and he's different and that's okay.
And I think that's, such a beautiful message as a parent with two children of my own, too. It doesn't matter where on the spectrum you fall. If you're neurodivergent or neurotypical, parents tend to look at their kid and your kid's special because they're who they are. And it's recognizing that. And I think as a parent, all we really want to do is help them be the best version of themselves and to thrive and, to have those moments of happiness and excitement because all you want is for your kid to be happy, despite these. And so really all it is, in any walk of life, it's finding the right support to make sure your kid can live that sort of life. And that your kid is special and beautiful and uniquely them. All right. And such a privilege. I feel that as a mom all the time. Like I am so lucky to have these two goofballs, right? And they bring me so much joy and challenges, right? And challenges.
And my son has made such an impact on my life. And, he has taught me and showed me so much. And, I tell the families I work with that it's okay, right? And that you're amazing because you're taking this journey with them and that it's a beautiful journey because you get to see them grow and change. And I might cry. But he's these kids, autist, amazing. And I want parents to know that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to find AB services. And it doesn't make you any less. It doesn't make you a different parent. It makes you want to help your child and get them the services they need. And there's nothing wrong with that.
You have mentioned a few times ABA, and I know we're so used to it, Mac. We use all these clinical terms and acronyms and we throw them around and kind of wanted to take a minute because, you started off as a parent researching ABA and there's definitely things on the internet that make it really scary. I was talking to one of our other colleagues there the other day about, really what is ABA? And her name is Jen Diedrich. She's one of the BC ABAs here who've been with Mac for a long time. And she's like, at its core, it's just reducing unwanted behaviors and reinforcing and celebrating the positive ones that we want. And I was like, yes, like, how do we communicate that it isn't something scary to be worried about? It also isn't rocket science, though there is a lot of evidence and science behind it. But these are practical therapies that really do kind of help, and it is in parents or caregivers or clinicians in the center. It's really just that, making sure we know what's good and what's acceptable, and what's maybe not so good and not so acceptable. We wouldn't want to really be doing that, which isn't much different than what we do as parents day to day anyhow, right?
No, and I would say like ABA, I wouldn't look at it as I know like there's tons of research and it's easy to get caught in that web of where you're just researching and looking up reviews and you see all these articles. I would say ABA is more meeting the kid where they're at, giving them skills and strategies that to help them be successful. And people that or therapists that out compassion and have empathy and understanding and patience to help.
Yeah.
And
I know I could use more of that in my own life, right?
yes. And I never looked at my son's behavior as a behavior. I always looked at it as communication. Right. You know, when he was doing things, his SIBs, it was hard as a parent to watch. But it was never behavior, right? It's just communication. And just finding a way, hey, you know, how can I communicate with you? Oh, you know. And I think ABA, the part of that I love is that we can teach skills, we can help families, we can advocate for these kids and families. In ABA, I love that we involve families, right? Because they're like the centerpiece of what we do, of what we need. And so I would definitely say there's so many positives about ABA.
And it really is a whole family thing. And I think, you know, my time at MAC, what I've loved being about this organization is how when we write about what we do, we talk about our learners. And that is quickly followed by our learners and their families, right? Because this isn't a one person isolated thing that any one person is navigating. You have autism, but it is the community, the family around you that is all part of that, and how we build a world of acceptance and tolerance and understanding so that we can communicate better with each other, right? And be more supportive of that person and everyone around them is going through as well, right?
I'd say that one of my favorite things is family skills. I just love being able to allow, you know, parents need to vent, right? And they need someone that, you know, I feel like I can connect with them because I've been through it. And I can be like, it does get better, right? Like, well, up this hill, stuck in the mud, but eventually we'll get back down it. It just takes time, and we'll just do it together. And so I love being able to empower the families I work with and give them that hope and motivation.
I love that so much. Do you think because, you know, you've gone through this journey yourself that impacts your role at MAC and how you are able to connect with our learners and their parents because, you know, you've done it?
I do. I know from being a parent, it's easy to talk to someone about it, but talking to someone that's been through it and understands it, I always found it to be easier for me as a parent.
So with that, you know, as you think about the other parents, whether they suspect that their child might have autism, or maybe they just got a diagnosis, I mean, what advice would you give them? What words of encouragement would you say to them?
I would tell them that don't look at it like a diagnosis. Don't look at it like a label. Look at it as my kid is unique and he, you know, or she is amazing and they can still do anything. And that they just need, you know, some extra skills or strategies to help. I wouldn't look at the ASD part. I never did with my son. And just to tell yourself that, you know, you're an amazing parent and that you're blessed because you're chosen to be, you know, be the mom and dad. And it's a wonderful journey to take with them.
I love that so much. And then, you know, on the heels of that, what do you wish like people who aren't in this community understood more about what families are going through, or what these individuals, how they see the world? You know, what do you hope that more people understood about autism?
That they don't need a label, right? Like they have a name and they see the world different but it's unique. They see things that we don't. They pick up on emotions and feelings, which is really cool. You know, they can read vibes, and we have so much to learn from them that they can teach us. And just to be open to accepting. I'm a big advocate, and so I've done school visits, and I've spoke at my kids' school, and so I've done a lot of advocating, and I think it's so important that we show the community that they're not different, that they're just like every other kid or every other family.
Yeah. Have you, in your own journey, seen the stigmatization of autism change over time? Are you, as we get out there and advocate more and talk about it more, or you see it in the headlines, in your own experience, have you seen that go away, or has it gotten worse?
I would say when we first found out, and my kid was having SIB, in the stove. I got looks, and I would definitely say over time has gotten a little bit better, but I still think there's a lot of work that we can do, and I think it starts with the school systems, just really educating kids on it and being open with it and being open about it, right? And that's not something you can't be scared of or can't be friends with a kid because, right? And I think it really starts with the schools and educating kids and hosting community events, or even I know that I've done just inspirational with schools and teachers, and so but I'm hoping that with time and advocate and just really showing the community that it's amazing, and hopefully they'll open up more.
Well, Miranda, I love this conversation, and thank you for being so open with us and sharing your story. I think there's so many beautiful things that we can take away from this and move forward. In closing, as an employee of Mac Midwest and what you've seen here, if parents are, looking for a center, I guess as we part, what would you say to them if they're considering Mac Midwest as an employee and as a parent of a child with autism?
I would say that Mac Midwest is a compassionate ABA. It's not the employees, staff truly want to make a difference in a family and a child's life. They want to help build and advocate in the community. And though, yes, there are many websites and articles, but Mac Midwest is compassionate ABA and really truly want to make a difference.
Well, thank you so much, Miranda. I really appreciate your time. So excited to share your stories with others. And again, just thank you so much for your time today.